Welcome to day 3 of your spoken English classes. Today, we are going to look at how to speak in full sentences. Imagine the situation when someone asks you a simple question like, where do you live? Okay, and you answer with just one word. For example, you might just say Delhi, Mumbai, or even Bangalore. Okay, now this structure sounds quite correct, but it is not real communication. Today, we will fix this completely. By the end of this lesson, you will speak in full, confident, and natural sentences. Let's move on to section 2, that is to know the purpose of the lesson. Today has one goal, and what do you think that is? That is to change your short answers into full sentences. And why do you think this is quite important? Okay. This is important because it makes your conversation easy. Interviews become easy to crack. Presentations also become quite easy to give out. Overall, your speaking in English becomes smoother and more natural. If you master this skill, every future lesson becomes easier. Okay? So, there is a question in my mind, and I would want to ask you that why one word answers are a problem, and why do you think so? The answer is when you answer with one word, the conversation pretty much stops. But when you answer in a full sentence, the conversation grows. Okay, let's look at an example here. Now, if someone asks you, where do you work? And if you answer IT, that sounds quite incomplete and it is confusing to the listener, right? Let's look at a full sentence. Let's say, I work in the IT sector and I specialize in testing. Sounds more clear and a very creative way to answer this particular question. Full sentences make you sound clear and confident at the same time. Okay. So today I would want to share a simple formula with you in order to increase your clarity. More than fluency, clarity in English is very important. So let us look at section 4 for today. Okay. And the main formula. When I say the main formula, what is it? We always think that subjects like mathematics, physics, and chemistry has formulas. No, that's completely untrue. Even English carries formulas. So, today's formula is quite simple to remember and use as well. Let's look at this. As you can see, it is S, okay, plus V plus an extra. And what do you think this is? It's very simple as it seems, okay? So the main formula S plus V plus extra is nothing but S stands for subject, all right? V stands for verb, and extra is nothing but the extra information you can give on any given topic that is being asked in form of a question. All right, let's look at a small and a very simple example. I do not want to complicate things here. Let's keep it really simple, okay? The subject, as you can see, is I, okay? The verb is live. Verb is something, it's related to an action. Any action is known as action, word is known as verb. So here the verb is live. Now, what is extra? Okay, extra is any set of information that you can use to explain your subject and your verb. Okay, so the extra here in this case is in Pune with my family. Quite clear, isn't it? So let us listen to the full sentence once. I live, that is subject plus your verb, in Pune with my family, rather than just going for the name of the place like Delhi, Bangalore, Chandigarh, or any place for that matter. Now, this is a pretty simple formula to keep in your mind. Okay. Always think in English instead of translating it from your mother tongue. And remember, the extra part, this part, is pretty much flexible. You can change it based on your idea, your mood, and your question. Okay. Now, this formula can transform your speaking instantly. How do you think that is? Let's look at some points here. Okay. We have like 5 points that I would want to explain one by one. Now, you avoid one word short, awkward answers. Okay. This is a very important point to keep in mind. Means when you use these structures, that is, the single word answers, you stop giving answers like if you use these structure, that is subject, verb plus your extra information, you stop giving answers like yes, no, or okay. Instead, you give complete sentences that sound natural. This makes the conversation smoother and shows that you can express yourself clearly. Sorry. Let's look at the second point. You automatically start speaking in full sentences. Okay. These speaking patterns help your brain create sentences faster. You do not have to think too much or translate from your language. Your sentence become longer, clearer, and more meaningful without the extra effort. Okay, moving on, you sound confident, fluent, and also it sounds like you are not memorizing any of the templates. What do you mean by that? It is you do not need to remember complicated phrases. Using simple structures like I think, I prefer, or I feel already makes you sound fluent. So your speech becomes more natural and it doesn't sound robotic. All right. So the next point here is your listener gets more detail. Now, this is very important during a conversation so that your conversation feels natural and not memorized. All right. When you add a few extra words to the information that you're trying to give out, this helps the listener to understand you better and they also ask you better follow-up questions. The conversation becomes more relaxed and comfortable for both of you. Let's look at the last point here. It works in any topic: hobbies, work, travel, food, daily life, and even business related topics. Okay. These structures, these structures are universal, so you can use them in every situation. So no matter what is the topic, these patterns always work. Okay. Let's look at the practice round pretty quickly here. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I will say one word. All right. It'll be a one word answer. And you will change it into a full sentence using the subject. All right. Verb plus your extra. Now, that is what we are looking at. This is very important and keep it in mind. Your extra is flexible. You can change it accordingly. Now, and also I wanted to tell you during this section till here, you can pause the video and answer the sentence and then go ahead and look at the video in total. All right. The first word is Delhi, and your sentence should start with something like I live in Delhi. You can pause the video and add an extra. Okay. And that's going to be the format for the next one, two, three words as well. So your word is student. I'm sorry, my word is student, and your sentence should be I'm a student plus the extra. Feel free to, kind of get creative with the extra points and try to understand the concept. Now, my word is engineer, and your sentence would start with I, that is the subject, work, that is the verb. As an engineer, but plus an extra. So pause the video and try to create a sentence pretty much immediately. Okay, great. Now, the last word is cricket. And your sentence is I enjoy playing cricket plus an extra again. Great. So, this is how I would advise you to even practice during your free time. If you have some time for yourself, you can also stand in front of the mirror and practice the same formula. And I'm sure you will see how it helps you to enhance the way you speak in English. Okay. Now, let's look at section 6. This also is a quite interesting concept wherein you do not have to brainstorm when people kind of ask you impromptu questions. What do you mean by impromptu questions? Impromptu questions are those questions which people tend to ask almost immediately or at any random given time. So, there is the structure that I would love to share with you, and it always almost works for me as well. Okay, very simple. Anyone at any level can use this, and I'm sure that you will find yourself speaking pretty much fluently. Okay, so let's look at this 5 basic speaking structures. It's not a very intensive thing to remember. Again, it's very easy. So I'm just going to go ahead and share this with you. You will use these structures every day here on in order to understand that is how to improve the way you speak in English. Okay, so the 5 basic speaking structures are I am, okay, I have, a very important one, I live, I work, I like or I enjoy. Now keep in mind, this structure can also be used to crack interviews or to give your personal introduction without brainstorming and sounding pretty much confident, even though you have a GPS system in your head that has been implanted by using this 5 basic structure rules. Okay, all right, memorize this. This is the only thing that you might want to memorize even before you're going to an interview, and I'm sure that you will feel that you've done a great job. So they are simple but extremely powerful. Please trust me when I say that this is simple but it's extremely powerful. It's really powerful. Now, let's look at a real life application of the same. Imagine we just met, that is me and you, the one who's listening to me right now. Now, if you and I meet, just imagine that situation. I ask, tell me something about yourself. Okay, it can be an interview as well. It can be an interview question. This is the most important interview question anyone can face nowadays. So you can answer using this 5 structure. That is this 5 structure point. Now let's look at the example. I am a business student. I live in Jaipur with my parents. I work part time in a cafe. I have a strong interest in marketing. I enjoy or I like learning English. That's it. That's all. And it doesn't even sound, robotic, or it doesn't sound that you have already got something in your head that is pre existing. Doesn't sound like that at all. It is quite natural. So this is the structure that I'm talking about, where I am, I have, I live, I work, I like or I enjoy play a pretty important role in your introductions. All right, as I said, this is a natural introduction. Now let's move on to section 8. Okay, now this section is very interesting and also will benefit you in many ways because it helps you improve your sentences just by adding an extra detail. Now, what do I mean by extra detail? We already have spoken about something that is extra here. We have already spoken about extra something here, that is your a formula, the subject plus verb plus the extra information. Now, what is that I'm talking about? Another extra. Okay, this is nothing but certain words like, see, Look at this. You can add frequency. Adding frequency means adding words like usually, often, and sometimes. All right. And then adding time to anything that you're talking about. Like in the morning, I get up, or on the weekends, I go out with my friends to have a cup of coffee. I hang out with them. We watch movies on the weekends. So things like that. All right. Add time to your reasoning as well. Now, the third point is add a reason, that is because or due to or anything followed by that. But add words like because or due to, this has led to that. So that is where you're looking at adding reasons. A very important thing that I would want you to keep in mind is adding opinions. A very good thing to do, and an excellent way to show your presence anytime you're talking to any of the person who's asking you a particular question. So I believe, or I truly believe, I feel that, in my opinion, all these words are very, very powerful when you're looking at giving out your opinions on a certain topic. Let's look at an example. Okay, basic sentence would sound something like this, that is, I work in IT. All right. A better version of the same sentence sounds like this, that is, I work in the IT sector and I usually, look at this word, which, I was just talking to you about this word usually, that comes under adding frequency, handle testing projects. Let me read it again. I work in the IT sector and I usually handle testing projects. So that sounds really good. Okay. This makes you sound proficient. All right. Now let's look at section 9. What do you think section 9 is? Section 9 is pretty much the final practice challenge. Okay. Now, here, I just want you to again pause the video. Okay. Just pause the video and try to answer the questions, whatever you can see on the screen. I'll be asking you the questions. Try to pause the video and answer them. Okay. So the first question is, where do you live? Great. If you've paused the video and answered the question using the subject verb plus extra formula, then you're going great. The next question is, what do you do? Amazing. Thank you so much for doing this. Okay. Now, next, what do you enjoy doing after work? Okay. The next one is, what are your plans for the week? This is a very good question because it includes a word that is week. All right. Here you can very easily add your time and frequency as well. Both of these can be added in this particular set of in this particular question. Okay, because it actually is asking about what are your plans for the week. So you can just go on saying that I get up in the mornings and weekends are really special, so we have family outings throughout the week, or I mean at the end of the week. So basically these are the type of questions that you can add frequency, okay, and add time as well. So pause the video and answer the question. Great. The last question is, what is one thing you want? What is the one thing that you want to improve in English, or how do you want to improve in English? Okay. So this question can be answered on your own at your leisure. Okay. But please understand to use this formula, that is subject verb plus extra, and use these phrases wherever it's necessary in order to sound fluent. Okay. So great work today. You've done a great job. So you have completed day 3. Tomorrow, in day 4, you will be learning the 5 most powerful speaking structures that will help you sound fluent in every conversation. So, see you in the next class. Thank you so much for joining GK Pro Academy.